Morning all. So it's Friday the 16th of May, coming towards the end of week 4. This morning was kind of tough, not as tough as Wednesday, but yeah. So that was 4 minutes jogging, 1 minute walking, 4 minutes jogging, 1 minute walking, etc. Repeated 4 times. I can see what they're trying to do with this training. So my time over that 20 minutes was, I covered 1.6 or 1.7 miles in 20 minutes with an average speed of 12 minutes a mile. Now if I'd been jogging the whole way, I'd have covered a lot more ground, and if I'd started Runkeeper as I started jogging, probably would have been slightly better. But that's within striking distance after just 2 weeks of running 1.5 miles in between 14 and 15 minutes for my age. So despite the fact they probably wouldn't take me, but at my age in the army, so that's within striking distance of, I think if you're over 40 you get 15 minutes to get into like logistics or signals or something like that. So yeah, so that's the thing about running, you're competing with yourself, and I'm competing with me 2 weeks ago and I'm beating me. I'm winning handily against 2 weeks ago me, if you can think. I mean, because that's this whole thing is the fitness end of it, is you're competing with yourself. You're not competing with anybody else. So just after 2 weeks, you can really feel the progress. You don't have to convince your body for very long. And if you want a really hardcore example of that, then you probably need to check someone like Eddie Izzard, who ran a whole bunch of marathons after only 6 weeks training. But there again, he's a loony for doing that. I admire all his comedy and everything, and I admire him as a person for doing stuff like that. It's just insane. But he managed to prove to pretty much everybody on planet Earth that a lot of people's limitations are placed on them by themselves. So yeah, so there is a gym section today. I haven't entirely been doing no gym since Monday. I've developed a way of doing like a calisthenic push-up, which certainly feels like it's working my arms and my upper body, and I can feel my back muscles tensing out. So I do sort of standing dorsal raises by twisting my back as far as it can go, and then I do reps of 20 45 degrees. So you lean over at 45 degrees, you put your hands on the work surface, and you essentially do a tilted press up, which makes a lot of the people in the kitchen laugh, but it means that I can get in some reps while I'm at work and it's quiet, which feels good. I can feel my arms getting bigger. Nobody at work will now arm wrestle me, which is strange because they're all sort of like younger lads, probably twice as old as some of them. So yeah, so that was that. That was the run. I'm feeling less and less trepidatious about these. I think it's very important to have a watch with a stopwatch function, because it's easier to persuade yourself, to get a move on, or to stretch out your stride, or work harder. One thing I haven't been doing, which I'm going to start doing for the next set of runs, is a little bit of a warm-up, just stretch out my arms and get the blood pumping before I try and do it, because I was very sluggish when I first started jogging, and I think if I could have started jogging with looser limbs, that would have been better. My knee started playing up a little bit. Not going to gripe about it, but that's probably because I didn't warm up. So next time, before I start my run, I'm just going to do a few stretching exercises, see if I can bend down and touch my toes, which is becoming more of a possibility these days. And yeah, so yeah, it's all good. So also today I'm going to try and get a podcast together of the last 4 weeks of activity, and just sort of like see if I can link through all the things. If you're desperate to get a small day sack and you haven't got one, I think the one I'm wearing is probably one of the cheapest, and it's really handy. It's got like 4 main pockets and a chest strap, which is really important. So yeah, so that's starting to come together. I think I'm getting the hang of editing these videos together. So yeah, that's about it for now. No profound thoughts when I woke up this morning, but I did get up and out of bed by 7. I made my bed, I drank some water. That's totally a habit, and that is buying me an enormous amount of time. Just insane. You know, the amount of productivity I'm, you know, basically putting together, doing whatever exercise it is, going for a walk or doing a run, and I'm getting to put together a whole video, edit it, render it and get it uploaded, largely in the time I'm creating by getting up at 7, which I didn't used to do. You know, there have been days when I haven't got up before 12, but there's all sorts of benefits with that. You know, I'm able to chat online with people in different parts of the world. I'm able to sharpen my video editing skills. I'm getting a video or two out to you guys every day. Be very cool if you know, the people that are watching this could spread the word a little bit. That'd be nice. And if the more times you like, the more people that subscribe, the more likely it is that somebody that's looking for something like this can get it out there. Because I mean, the point of this was to take someone ordinary and out of shape and push them to you know, defeat their own inertia. I mean, one of the things I picked up, I got to listen to recently, was the War on Art, which is about creativity, which is also what I'm trying to spark. Trying to get, you know, there's sort of like the physical exercise and the creativity do go hand in hand. You know, the pushing yourself, the being better than you were. It's not really self-improvement, it's more like, you know, realization of what you can actually do, which is really cool. I've also started journaling, which is another one of those things that it's some of these things, the reasons I probably didn't pick up on them earlier is because they are always put across by somebody that you inherently don't want to trust. That's why I make sure I video the run. That's why I video all the exercises. It might well be very boring to watch, but I'm not waffling on about something and giving you the impression that there are things that I'm saying that I don't do, and that I'm trying to get together some level of authenticity. I'm going to try and work out like a post-course exercise, but that's like 14 weeks away. So I've got plenty of time to work that out. So kind of like a weekly regime. I'll definitely be folding in some martial arts into that. I want to get more into the whole meditation thing, because even if you don't believe in any kind of higher power, as I really don't, I believe in inner power. I believe that, you know, one human being is an amazingly capable creature. We're capable of doing so much more than we actually do in modern life, and I think that's what leads to a lot of depression. We've got nothing to measure ourselves against, really, that we can really see as a defining thing. I mean, one of the more profound things is when you look at something like Joseph Campbell's The Hero with a Thousand Faces, you see there is a hero's journey. There's a hero's journey that we all want to undertake, regardless of gender, orientation, race. Almost every culture on earth has got like a hero story, you know, and amazingly, almost every culture on earth has real life examples of someone going through that journey, you know. So we have these stories, we have these people that we look up to. You know, there are working class heroes all over the place. There are working class people that have become a success. And generally speaking, without any help, for some reason, those people have not necessarily become rich, but have become the heroes in their own lifetime. You know, the people that are the more compassionate. You know, there are some people that look like they're trailblazing, but it's because they're destroyed by, you know, the circumstances in which they find themselves. If you look at the life of Nelson Mandela or Harvey Milk, or very bad for forgetting another name, like there was a trans activist that was present at the Stonewall riots. that literally just said no, enough. You know, you can go to fiction if you can't find anybody like you. I mean, watch the Karate Kid movies. I know that's a really silly example, but that is the hero's journey. That's, you know, somebody tries to be a hero, gets their ass handed to them by the bad guy, goes away, meets kindly old wizard type person, gets a magic piece of information or a magic item, and then comes back and, you know, after a lot of training and, you know, making themselves heroic, comes back and beats up the bullies. You know, that's about half of every Bollywood movie ever made. That's a lot of, you know, that's the story of Lone Wolf and Cub. It's, you know, it's the Magnificent Seven. It's, you can always change into being a better person, you know, in your own estimation, not some random crap I'm going to come out with after I'm high off running and all the dopamine and endorphins are sort of coursing through my body as I'm stumbling back home. You know, go and check it for yourself. Does it make you feel uplifted when you read or you see this story? Star Wars is probably the story that has the most uplifting fantasy idea that's most in line with Campbell's writing, because Campbell helped write it. Star Wars was a rubbish movie before Campbell said, oh, you need the mythological stuff. You know, King Arthur is, you know, essentially like a mythological messiah type bod. You know, Arthur's born, when he's a young man he pulls the sword from the stone, becomes the rightful king of England, wanders off and is taught compassion and leadership by Merlin, as well as the fact he's got a magic sword. You know, and it's kind of a reverse hero myth, because Arthur fails, you know, at the final battle against the forces of evil. He dies, you know, the evil's defeated, but at massive cost, and he goes away to sleep, you know, to wait until England needs him again. Arguably, that'd be about now. So yeah, we need those stories, we need those myths, we need to know that we're better than we are. Otherwise, our yesterday person is the template for, you know, what we're going to do for the rest of our lives. And I think when people lose hope in themselves, you know, things go badly wrong. You know, the loss of aspiration, and I don't mean money. You can be perfectly happy and not have a lot of money. But yeah, I mean, I think with this I've actually found a thing that, you know, it's hard in the modern world. You know, the stories feel like they've all been written, and, you know, I can possibly help other people while helping myself, which is, you know, a win-win. Look for the win-win, says Stephen Covey in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Sharpen the saw, seek to understand, then to be understood. You know, look at the end point. You know where the end point is before you start a project. But I think this could well be an ongoing thing. I mean, wouldn't it be awesome that thousands, millions of people do something along these lines? Maybe I can reach people through other medium more easily. I don't want to do Facebook. It's too much like, you know, Luke Skywalker joining the Empire. And I know Google is a massive mega corporation, but I believe Google could be better. You know, I believe YouTube could be better if people try and put something that's of psychological value. There are a lot of YouTubers out there, like the simple psychology stuff, the people, the motivational speakers that get to spread their message and motivate people for free on YouTube. And, you know, there are people making art and showing you all the amazing things that they've done. In, you know, not because they're going to look at what I did, but sometimes they just want to go, look how easy it is. Technology's real easy. You know, it's real easy and real cheap. I think that's part of what really excites me, is that you can go, well, this was easy. You know, you can slap a few components together and increase your abilities. You know, you can essentially add superpowers. You can add night vision to your loadout. You can add capability to the way you pack your work bag. You've got all sorts of cool things that you can do, you know, that just make you that much more capable. You know, even if everybody learned how to break themselves free of, you know, a crowd standing around when someone's having a heart attack or has collapsed, and they can step in, or somebody can rescue somebody from a situation where everybody's just gawping and nobody knows what to do, hoping that somebody more qualified comes along. You know, if you followed this course for 4 weeks, you're that person. You're the person that should dial 911. You're the person that should, you know, roll up your jumper and put it under their head and wait for help to arrive. You know, how much is it really going to cost you compared to that person possibly dying because nobody can break the deadlock? You know, maybe you're a future MP, maybe you're a future Prime Minister. You know, I can think of worse things than a compassionate human being Prime Minister that can actually say, right, what does this do for people and what does it do to people? I think we're all too concentrated on looking, you know, sort of going too far into the big picture. Maybe the big picture is a destination that will cost far too much. So where was I? Yeah. It's going to kick off all kinds of cool stuff happening. Excellent. Yeah, so look into Joseph Campbell, I think The Power of Myth. I think it's on Netflix at the moment. That's well worth a watch. But we know the hero pattern. You know, we know the hero motif. You know, if you want to take my life, the first half of my life is with a few bright spots, like my daughter and doing exciting things and stuff like that, but the large amount of it was just dragging myself through. You know, I've got some good friends, I've got a daughter, but I've largely torpedoed my life just by not being able to get on that treadmill and accept it. And now I think I've really got this, got a bit of a plan. So yeah, so imagine if you got all this information and you're young, you know, and you haven't had any mistakes yet. Go, do this. You know, give your brain some time off with exercise. Get yourself those rushes. Don't start smoking. Don't get into debt. You know, you don't need any of this shiny stuff. Don't need it. How useless is this $5 watch against a $2,000 watch? I mean, maybe if you were the sort of person, you were working out in the middle of nowhere, a really good waterproof watch that didn't lose the time, so like a standard stainless steel Rolex Oyster. But I'm sure there are watches that are as good. But it's that sort of thing. A car gets you from A to B, when you rather have a super reliable car rather than one that needed tuning up all the time. Wouldn't you prefer to travel and actually meet people than travel and stay in $1,000 a night hotels? I know I'd rather have Henry Rollins' travel plan than Bill Gates. I'd like to know there were places in the world where I could just go and be welcomed. You know, that would be extremely humbling, and we can all use some of that. I'm humbled every time somebody watches a video, to be honest. So yeah, I'm trying to sort of like fold in as much extra stuff and as much of a reason to watch it. But I mean, a lot of this stuff that I've had in my head for a while is stuff that I'm carrying with me, you know, the urge to be effective. But what's the point in wanting to be effective and then not working on it? Not setting aside a couple of hours a week to be more capable? You know, even after 4 weeks, I'm probably fitter than most of the people I know. I'm probably certainly fitter than most of the people in my age group. You know, just by dint of going, let's actually have a look at this. Instead of following habits, let's make some new habits that work a bit better. Even if it takes 5 minutes extra. I mean, it's annoying the crap out of me that I'm getting into this whole mindfulness thing. That's annoying as anything. where I'm sort of like looking carefully at what it is I say and do. I mean, yeah, I'm ranting into a camera, but I'm trying to get across something positive. You know, there are a lot of people in the world that I don't think are deliberately doing bad stuff. I think it's like an aside, it's a not thinking about it. You know, which to anybody that's on the receiving end of that feels like callousness. But I don't think it is. I think there are very, very few people that are genuinely callous, you know, or have genuinely lied to themselves so effectively that they feel that they're doing the right thing. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning and thinks, now I'm going to go and do some seriously evil shit. Just like malicious hackers probably feel they're redistributing wealth in a more friendly way, but they don't really see the impact they have on the person at the other end. You know, what if those guys got together, or those people got together and decided to do something awesome? You know, they're smart enough to do some really great stuff. I mean, you can hack a system, you know, something like online applications for housing, and, you know, advocate for someone that needs to find housing and fill in the form in exactly the right way, like they did in, I think, New York a few years ago, where the housing applications were rejected about 75% of the time, and then when they had the AI fill in the form, it was something like 98% of the time that the applications were accepted. You know, it's you know, a good system to overthrow a callous system. That'd be nice. There's enough food in the world to feed everybody. Well, there must be something we can do to get it properly distributed. I mean, I'd go for that in my lifetime, everybody getting a decent couple of meals a day. But I'm speaking from a point of privilege. There are people fighting wars, using children, using rape as a means of terrifying a population. But I'm sure when they started, they, you know, at least some of them thought they were doing the right thing, going for stability and security. It's just bloody terrifying, you know, just the way people turn on each other. I've had my own experiences with that, you know, people, you know, having a very rigid, uncompassionate program for doing what they think is the right thing and going by an any means necessary sort of route. And then that has a negative impact on us. So yeah, gonna leave it there. It's my rambling. It's probably just the endorphins talking and my naivety. I don't know how I haven't managed to have that beaten out of me yet. You'd think at 48 all the naivety would have been kicked out of my soul by now, but yeah, you never know. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it for today. There's no need to make you watch me walk up this big hill that I'm looking at, huffing and puffing. My legs are all sort of like dangly and jelly. They don't feel like they're actually supporting my weight. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if you can make sure that you just leave these videos on, because I know I ramble, and if you can like and subscribe and pass this on to people as much as possible, that'd be cool too. Because every time you do that and every time you watch it to the end, the algorithm sorts itself out. So I can only ask that you do that. I'm sure that if you're watching even part of this, you can imagine that there are people that you know that could possibly benefit from it. I mean, I am the lab rat, you know. I'm an out of shape old guy that just went, no, I can do better, and I should do better for at least some portion of my life. So if you know someone that doesn't have a lot of motivation, you know, get them to watch this. Go out for a walk, or get them, you know, do something. You know, you may not come up with your plan immediately, but it would at least be an actual plan, or at least something to be getting on with while you've got a plan. I mean, if you want to fulfill your life plan, wouldn't it be better to be in good shape, be better, understand nutrition and brain chemistry, and start thinking about what it is you want to do with what could possibly be a finite amount of lifespan? So yeah, thank you for watching. Do take care.